Hello, it's Rachel. I'm here to discuss Tom Swift episode 2. So, given the events at the end of the pilot, Tom is now trying to find these satellite pieces. And so we start off with Tom, Zenzi, and Isaac, kind of figuring out the general area of where it probably went. But the first big moments, at least in my opinion, of the episode was that dinner party. Which, goodness, if I were in Tom's shoes, I absolutely would have snapped too. Like, imagine being invited to someone's home and then, as their guest, you're taunting them. Just the amount of disrespect is astounding. Like, if you really don't like the family that much, then, just don't accept the invite. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that they agreed to come and then they were just being assholes. Why would you do that? Also, this isn't me being mad at Zenzi. This is definitely directed at the writers. But, why was she shocked to learn that the other family's son was homophobic towards Tom when they were kids? Because, ma'am, you were present at that dinner. His homophobia was blatant. It was not surprising. He was specifically mocking Tom about a childhood crush. And even if you don't pick up on any other cues other than Tom's insulted reaction, like that alone should make it clear that it's not playful and there's a history there. So I why was she trying to make nice? Why are we doing this? But before I rant too much about that, since I will talk about the other family's son again later. Sorry, I didn't remember his name. I don't want to go back and rewatch to try to put it in my head because I don't care enough. So before I rant too much about that, I'll return to some plot content. So after this tense dinner, Tom is refused access to the mines where he expects to find a piece of the satellite. And so then the plan turns to okay, so now I have to trespass and grab it without them knowing that I'm on their land. And I love Tom's emphasis on needing to be stylish for every occasion. He's literally planning to trespass. And then he's also planning to be inside a mine, which I don't think you would want to wear nice clothes inside a mine. I think there's a decent chance you could ruin those clothes in a mine. Miners do not wear things that are fashionable, they wear things that are protective. So it's amusing to me that he was prioritizing the drama and he had to be in designer fashion. And I also love that Tom just basically slightly tweaked and repurposed a conditioner he made to create this protective layer on his clothes. That's so creative and just shows how smart he really is. And I seeing that moment where he was doing some scientific stuff, it really makes me wish that the show did focus more on the science aspect of his inventions. But on the other hand, I do understand that this is a Nancy Drew spinoff. So, of course, there's going to be the detective angle. So, once Tom, Zenzi, and Isaac manage to successfully reach the mines, Tom obviously makes his descent into the mines, while Zenzi and Isaac stand guard and end up chatting. And so their conversation was very intriguing to me. So, Isaac's earlier talk with Tom after that dinner and, not understanding why Zenzi liked the other family's son, it definitely seemed like Isaac was a bit jealous to me. And I really, really appreciate that he's very protective of her and that he was very concerned about her being hurt by this other guy. And I think the writers are going to set them up as a couple, especially given Zenzi's comment saying that she's not interested in dating anyone who's interested in Tom. And previously we'd seen her clearly very intrigued by the fact that Isaac had an ex-girlfriend. So I hope we do actually get a chance to see them get together. So, predictably, Tom, Zenzi, and Isaac get caught by Tom's childhood tormentor as they're trying to leave. And what was that scene? Like, why was there like this meta joke of like the homophobic bully is secretly gay and closeted with Tom's comment of like, get on your knees? Like, what was that? Why did we go there? That was unnecessary. I was very uncomfortable with it. And then they kind of just like brush past that comment, and the bully tried to explain away his behavior with the excuse that it was hard to live up to the standard that Tom had set, and he felt like he could never like live up to his parents' expectations. And like, okay, your jealousy does not endear me to you when you were being a bully in a specifically homophobic way. Like this, that doesn't excuse your behavior. Like, are we really doing this in 2022? Really? And then Tom and this guy just immediately put aside their differences after this non-apology and agree to work together. Like, it felt bad. I didn't like it. Okay, so onto like I guess the B plot of the episode. We had some developments with Claire. So I don't think she has anything to do with the road back. I think she really was just like extremely loyal to Barton, and she probably does have genuine doubts about Tom's ability to lead the company, especially given Lorraine has like literally vocalized worry about Tom taking control of the company. So I mean that's not great. If your own mom is doubting your ability to lead the company, like obviously the people at the company are going to doubt your ability to lead the company as well. And like I'm guessing Claire also feels like she's just given a lot of herself to this company and she wants like acknowledgement. But that being said, like it's so shitty of her to be asking a woman who's grieving the supposed death of their husband and be like, "Hey, will you back me in being the new CEO instead of your son?" Like that just felt very icky to me. Like this is not an appropriate thing to be asking right now. And like I really did want to give Claire the benefit of the doubt, but that scene at the end of the episode was also icky. Like Lorraine was literally drugged, and Claire is like, "Hey, what can I do to make you give me the CEO position?" Like that's so inappropriate. What are you doing? Like I get it that you care about the company. I get that you want what's best for the company and the employees. But like the situation is so gross. How are you doing this right now? If you see her being in a vulnerable position and literally drugged, like just make sure she's physically and mentally okay. Why are you asking this right now? The episode then ends with Tom finding out that Barclay was compromised, and he and Isaac learn that Rowan has been the one getting this info from his phone. So I'm really happy that Tom figured out that he was being spied on because I for sure thought it was going to take like at least half the season before he figured it out. So I'm I'm glad we can stop this and he can get ahead of the road back in finding these satellite pieces. Also, I love that his response to finding out that Rowan was the one like intercepting these messages was to send Rowan a flirty text. Like he is so into Rowan. I love it. He's not able to hide it at all from anyone. I I hope the writers do actually do something with this dynamic because I'm into it. I want them to find a way to work out. Because the chemistry's good, like I was saying last week. Anyway, I'd love to continue talking about the show. So if you have any thoughts on the first two episodes, please comment. And I'll see you guys for episode 3 next week. Bye.